You're learning wrong. You always have been. You read something once, maybe twice, and hope it sticks. You highlight, you take notes. You reread the same material over and over, and most of it disappears from your memory within days. This isn't because you're not smart enough. It's because the way you were taught to learn goes against how your brain actually works. Your brain doesn't absorb information through repetition and passive reading. It absorbs information through a completely different mechanism that almost nobody uses. Let me show you the brain technique that makes learning 3 times faster. It's based on neuroscience, not study tips. And once you start using it, everything you learn sticks permanently. The technique is called active recall with spaced repetition. But forget the terminology. Here's what it actually means and why it rewires your brain. Your brain doesn't store information by reading it. It stores information by retrieving it. Every time you force your brain to pull something from memory, you strengthen the neural pathway to that information. The act of remembering is what creates the memory, not the act of reading. This is why rereading doesn't work. You're exposing yourself to information, but you're not making your brain work to retrieve it. It feels like learning because the information is familiar. But familiarity isn't memory. The second you close the book, it's gone. Research from Purdue University proved this. Students who read material multiple times performed significantly worse on tests than students who read it once and then tested themselves repeatedly. Same time investment, completely different results. The students who tested themselves were forcing their brains to retrieve the information. That retrieval process is what locked it into long-term memory. The students who reread were just creating the illusion of knowledge. Here's how you actually use this technique. You learn something new. Could be a concept, a language, a skill, anything. Instead of rereading it or reviewing your notes, you immediately close the material and try to explain it from memory, out loud, or write it down. Doesn't matter. The key is you're forcing your brain to reconstruct the information without looking at the source. You'll struggle, you'll forget parts. That struggle is the learning. That's your brain building the pathway. Then you check what you missed. You go back to the material, see what you got wrong or forgot, and you learn those specific gaps. You're not rereading everything, just filling the holes. Then you write. This is the spaced repetition part. You don't review again immediately. You wait until you're about to forget. Maybe a day, maybe a week. The timing depends on how well you knew it the first time. Right before the memory fades completely, you test yourself again. Force the recall again. Struggle again. Check again. Each time you do this, the memory gets stronger and the interval before you forget gets longer. Studies on memory retention show this creates exponential improvement. After a few cycles of retrieval practice spaced over time, information moves into permanent long-term storage. You remember it years later without effort. Compare that to cramming, where you stuff information into short-term memory right before you need it and forget it, completely within weeks. Same effort, completely different outcome. Here's why this works on a brain level. Every time you retrieve information, you're strengthening the synaptic connections between neurons. You're literally rewiring your brain to make that information easier to access next time. But it only works if there's difficulty. If retrieval is easy, if you're just passively recognizing information, the brain doesn't bother strengthening the pathway. It only invests energy in pathways that are being challenged. This is why studying feels hard when you do it right. You're supposed to struggle. The struggle is the signal to your brain that this information matters, that it needs to be stored permanently. Most people avoid the struggle. They reread because it's comfortable. It feels productive. But comfort is the enemy of learning. Your brain only changes when it's forced to work. Here's how to implement this. Starting today, whatever you're trying to learn, stop rereading. Stop highlighting. Stop reviewing notes passively. Instead, after you learn something, close the book and write down everything you remember. Don't peek. Let yourself struggle. Then check what you missed and study only those gaps. Set a reminder to test yourself again in 24 hours. Then 3 days. Then a week. Then a month. Each time, force the recall before you review the material. This feels slower at first. It feels like you're learning less because you're not covering as much material. But you're actually learning more because what you do cover actually sticks. Research shows students using active recall with spaced repetition can learn the same amount of information in 1/3 the time with significantly better retention. That's not an exaggeration. That's measured data. The technique works for everything. Languages, history, science, skills, anything that requires your brain to store and retrieve information. You can read the same chapter 10 times and forget it, or you can read it once. Test yourself 5 times over a few weeks and remember it forever. Same time investment, massively different results. Your brain is designed for retrieval-based learning. It's designed to remember things you actively use, not things you passively review. So stop reviewing. Start retrieving. The struggle is the learning. The difficulty is the point, and the payoff is you finally remember what you were trying to learn instead of forgetting it the moment the test is over. Stop learning the wrong way. Start learning the way your brain actually works. 3 times faster. Permanent retention. Same effort. Same effort. Just better method.